Hey YouTubers, sac passe. So as you can see in my car, I thought about doing this video at home, but by the time I get home I get pretty tired from my shift, and to sit there and try to be really formal about it and get it all set up, I figured, you know what, let me just do this video now. And I will warn you, it's going to probably be a two-part video. It's a lot of information to cover, and this video is going to be regarding my IVF retrieval and fresh transfer. Of course, I got my handy dandy notebook, so I will be, if you see me kind of like glancing down a lot, that's why. Or glancing to the side. So I did my first IVF consult right before I did my final IUI. So I did my final IUI mid-August, and I did my IVF consult with a third reproductive endocrinologist. I did that July 20th, 2017. A friend of mine, who I will keep her anonymous, was encouraging me for months to join a Facebook group, a secret IVF group that the clinic had, not sponsored by the clinic, but just people who were interested in going to the clinic or had been patients had started. And the clinic I'm referring to is CNY Fertility. They have 4 locations: Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, and Albany. So I joined the group so I can gain more information and decide to do a consult. I will be doing a separate video probably at some point about my not my full experience, but my experience with CNY, because that's something I was looking for on YouTube, and I didn't find too many videos of like people's real experiences. Just kind of like clips here and there, and I had such an amazing experience, so I want to share that for other future patients. So we did that. We did that consult in July. Did our final IUI in August. By September, we went back to my reproductive endocrinologist, my RE, who did my IUI, to speak to her about IVF. That was about an hour an appointment, and I can't lie, that really shook up my husband. Like, Isaiah was like, what? I didn't realize there were so many risks with IVF. And it was because I've already knew about IVF, and I had been on the Facebook group for months and months and months, and researching and listening to podcasts and watching other YouTube videos. As she was talking to me, I wasn't scared, I wasn't alarmed, I wasn't like overly alert. I wasn't like, it's a scary thing, it's a surgery, it's a risk, things could happen that could affect your fertility if something were to go wrong, but I was willing to take that chance. I felt like, in my opinion, I really felt like we should go to the moon and back to try to conceive our child. So we were really back and forth about that. Finances were a major player, major reason for us not sure about what we were going to do. That was a major thing. Physically, I didn't know if I wanted to go through something like that. Emotionally, could I take being devastated again? So it took a few weeks, but we decided to move forward with it. So by early October, my period came, which I was, kind of surprised, but it did come. And we were basically waiting for my next cycle to start. Because I was not on any sort of fertility medication, I didn't know if I was going to get a period for November. So what we ended up doing after getting everything with CNY ready to go, basically getting my med protocol, all that good stuff, I did a day 21 progesterone check. So I basically went to LabCorp on day 21 of my monthly cycle. They did a blood draw, and then they did confirm that I did not ovulate. So from there, they decided to put me on birth control for about 7 to 8 days. And after that, my period, or basically I would start shedding my lining, which is exactly what happened. After that, I went for my baseline November 8th, and then I started stimming November 9th. I will put up probably at this point. I will put up a list, like a protocol list of what medications that I took, because I don't have it like off the top of my head. It was just a lot of stuff, a lot of just pills and injections, and just, it was a lot. But I mean, I've seen a lot more. So we did that. I stemmed for about, I think it was like 10 no, I stemmed for, I believe, 12 days. I started November 9th, and I went for ultrasounds every other day at my local monitoring clinic, CRM, that I was going to here, and that was in Orlando. I went to them every other day, and by my fourth ultrasound, which was on, I believe, November 17th, we realized that my follicles they were at a good size, but not exactly where they needed to be. And I had wanted to do my retrieval Monday, the 20th, but unfortunately they let me know that it's going to be pushed back to Wednesday, the 22nd, which was going to be the day before Thanksgiving, because they wanted to get my follicles to grow a little bit more. So we flew out November 19th, which was on a Sunday. That was the craziest trip I've ever had. We did not have a direct flight, so we did have, one stop. There was like a 2.5 hour layover, but because pretty much the whole East Coast was just dealing with wind and lots of turbulence, we were stuck in New Jersey at the airport from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. We were just stuck. Our flights kept getting delayed, canceled. We're so grateful that we were able to get vouchers for food and drinks, because it was a pretty long day, exhausting day, and it was overwhelming. So that Monday, we went in for our ultrasound and blood work with CNY in Syracuse. That Monday morning, and everything looked well. They decided to up my final dose of, I was taking Gonal F, which is a stimulating injection to grow your follicles, but they decided I was out of that, and luckily my amazing friend gave me Follistim, which is it's the same thing, but just a different company that manufactures it. She was able to donate some of that to me, so I took like an extra boost to get those follicles to kind of just keep going. And then from there, I did my trigger shot. I had a 2-part trigger shot. I did it midnight Monday, or was that Tuesday? So midnight, and then noon the next day, Tuesday. And basically, once I did that trigger shot, I felt it. Like, I felt my follicles, like I could feel my ovaries just like heavier, and me walking slower, and like it was just kind of like a pulsating, throbbing feeling. And for me, in total, I believe I had 47 follicles. So in total on each, in total. So it was a lot going on. Everyone is different because of having PCOS, having multiple cysts, just sitting there. That's why I had so many follicles. So we wake up early Wednesday morning, the day before Thanksgiving. I believe that's the 22nd. We go in and do our retrieval. Everything went really quick. I got there, and within 5 minutes, paperwork was done. First payment was made. And then from there, they took me back. I got undressed and everything like that. They took me back to the OR. Hubby was at the front, or he was somewhere like in a separate room on his own. I was probably in the OR for about 45 minutes in total. I had a few nurses come in. I had the embryologist come in. I had the anesthesiologist come in. And then I had, who did I have? Dr. Corley come in, who was going to be doing my retrieval, discuss with me what was going on. The anesthesiologist came back in. He said, I'm going to make a cocktail for you. And literally 5 seconds later, I was out. I was totally knocked out. By the time I woke up, I'm guessing it was like just before 11 o'clock. there, I couldn't see the computer screen to know exactly what time it was, but that's what I estimated. I felt like it was about 11 o'clock. And then from there, the nurse took me back to the area where my clothes were. I could barely walk. Like, I was kind of like tiptoeing and just dragging my feet and just kind of like out of it. And I did see my husband, and I was like, like trying to like, you know, call for him, but they're like, no, he has to go do his part now. So where they have to, you know, collect his semen. And I was just like, I couldn't talk. I was devastated. I was just like, my heart broke. Like, he's supposed to be with me. Like, he should be helping me getting dressed, not the nurse. But did that. They put me back in like a kind of like a relaxing waiting room area. And basically from there, he did his part, came back out. They sent me, they wanted me to get an extra prescription for something that's called Prograf. I don't remember what it's for, but I had to get that. So my husband went down the street to try to go pick that up, but that local pharmacy didn't have it. So we figured we would just go to a specialty pharmacy. When we got back to the hotel, we'd figured out where that was. So we did that. We went back to the hotel, and basically the rest of the day I was in pain. Like, I could not walk on my own. I could not use the bathroom. My first pee, I'm sorry if this is TMI, but I just want to be honest about how IVF is and what the retrieval process was. Literally, my husband had to hold my body in order for me to sit on the toilet. And it was just so painful. I cried. It was extremely painful. I could only imagine like what other women who have, you know, way more follicles go through. Like, I had a lot, but it was just so much. It's so much on your body, and it's so uncomfortable. You can just and I guess the fewer follicles you have, maybe the lesser the pain, or I just have like a zero pain tolerance. But it was rough. It was really, really, really rough. I can't lie. I basically had to stay in the bed all day. I got up only when necessary. And, you know, my husband had to help me with everything. Every trip to the restroom, if I wanted to eat something, you know, he had to help me prop up or sit. Like, it was hard. It was really tough, really hard on my body. What else? So I got my, right before we actually left the clinic after doing the retrieval, they did let me know that they were able to retrieve 13 eggs. Which I found a little disappointing, but because I knew the size of my follicles from that Monday's appointment, I was like, okay, well, 13 is, you know, better than what some other women get. You know, you just never know. So basically from there, we waited for Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. They called us in the morning to let us know what our fertilization report was. And that's when it basically kind of hit me hard. They called and left me a voicemail because I wasn't sure it was them. It was a private number. And so we were eating breakfast at the hotel that morning, and they let me know out of the 13, they were able to, so 7 were mature, and they were able to get 5 embryos out of that. So we went from 47 follicles to 13 eggs to, well, 13 mature to 7 that were ICSI'd. Basically, ICSI is basically when you inject it with the sperm. So 7 were able to be injected with the sperm, and then 5 embryos out of that. So that was a lot. And I know the attrition rate, they say the attrition rate is about 25% from what you first start off with. But that was rough. That was kind of hard. I'll go ahead and cut off the video here. Go ahead and stay tuned for part 2.